First contact and deception. Captain Alina Reyes stood at the viewport of the survey vessel Pathfinder, watching the stars shimmer against the infinite blackness of space. The ship hummed softly around her as it drifted through the Kuiper Belt at the edge of Earth's solar system. The year was 2157, and humanity had established modest outposts throughout their home system, research stations on Mars, mining operations on the Moon, and small colonies on Europa and Titan. It wasn't much compared to the vastness of space, but humanity was taking its first real steps into the cosmos. "Captain, you need to see this," called Lieutenant Marcus Wong from his station. His fingers moved rapidly across the holographic display as he analyzed unusual energy readings. Alina moved to his side, her brow furrowing as she studied the data. "That's definitely not one of ours," she muttered. "No, ma'am. The signature doesn't match any Earth vessel. It's something else." For a moment, the bridge fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. After decades of searching, listening, and hoping, humanity was about to have its first contact with alien life. "Battle stations," Alina ordered calmly. "Not because I expect trouble, but because I don't know what to expect." The Pathfinder wasn't a warship. It was a survey vessel with minimal defensive capabilities, designed to map resources in the outer solar system. But even a survey ship had some defenses, and Alina wasn't taking chances. "Sir, the objects are changing course," reported Wong, his voice tight. "They're heading directly for us. Multiple vessels. I count at least 15 large ships and numerous smaller craft." Alina took her captain's chair and maintained a composed demeanor despite the anxiety churning in her stomach. "Maintain position. Let's see what they want." The alien vessels appeared on their view screen, sleek and predatory compared to the utilitarian human ships. They were at least 5 times the size of the Pathfinder, with smooth hulls that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "They're scanning us, Captain," reported Officer Amara Okafor, the sensor specialist. "Very thorough scans." Before Alina could respond, the communication system crackled to life. The voice that came through spoke perfect English, though with a strange resonant quality that suggested computer translation. "Human vessel, this is Fleet Commander Xarzov of the Zenkeri Imperium. Your species has been identified as a primitive technological civilization. Prepare to receive boarding party for preliminary assessment and classification." Alina exchanged glances with her crew. None of them liked the word primitive or the commanding tone. "This is Captain Alina Reyes of Earth Vessel Pathfinder. We welcome peaceful contact with the Zenkeri Imperium, but we do not consent to boarding. I suggest we arrange a formal meeting with our respective governments." There was a pause before the alien responded. "Your consent is irrelevant. The Imperium claims this star system by right of advanced civilization. Resistance will be noted in your species assessment." The alien ship extended docking arms. "Get us out of here," Alina ordered. "Maximum speed back to Earth. And send everything we've recorded to Space Defense Command. Make sure they know what's coming." The Pathfinder's engines roared to life, pulling away from the alien vessel. For a moment, it seemed they might escape. Then a beam of purple energy shot from the alien ship, striking the Pathfinder's engine section. "They've knocked out our main drive," Wong reported as the ship shuddered around them. Alina gripped her chair. "Secondary systems. Still online. We can move, but not fast enough to outrun them." Alina nodded grimly. "Then we fight. All weapons online." The Pathfinder wasn't designed for combat against advanced alien ships, but Alina wouldn't surrender her crew without resistance. The ship's point defense lasers fired, striking the extended docking arms of the alien vessel. The arms retracted quickly, damaged. "They're powering up weapons," Okafor warned. "Evasive action and keep transmitting to Earth." What followed was a brief, one-sided battle. The Pathfinder dodged the first volley from the alien ship, but the second caught them along the port side. Systems failed across the ship as the alien weapons proved far more powerful than anything humanity had developed. "Captain," Wong called out, his voice steady despite the chaos. "The transmission got through. Earth knows we're under attack." Elena nodded. "At least they'd accomplished that much. Prepare the emergency beacon. If they take us, Earth needs to know everything about them." The alien voice returned over the comm system. "Your resistance is noted. The Imperium appreciates testing the resolve of new species. It helps determine your place in our empire." Another blast hit the Pathfinder, and the lights flickered. They were crippled now, unable to fight or flee. But then Elena had an idea, a desperate one. "Open communication channel," she ordered. "Channel open," replied Wang. Elena straightened in her chair, projecting confidence despite their desperate situation. "Fleet Commander Tarzoth, I feel I should warn you. The Pathfinder is merely a scout vessel. Our main battle fleet is currently hidden behind the gas giants. They'll be most displeased by your attack on one of our scout ships." There was a pause in the alien's response. "Our scans detect no such fleet, human." Elena smiled. "Of course not. Earth has been developing stealth technology for decades. How do you think we've avoided detection by alien empires until now? The Pathfinder doesn't have such advanced systems. We're just a scout after all." The alien commander's voice held a note of uncertainty now. "You expect me to believe your primitive species possesses technology that can hide an entire fleet from our sensors? Believe what you wish, Commander. But when our main fleet arrives, remember that I offered you the chance to establish peaceful contact." Wang looked at Elena with wide eyes, clearly understanding her bluff. Elena muted the communication and whispered to her crew, "Play along. Look worried about revealing fleet information." She unmuted the channel. "Listen, Tarzoth, I shouldn't be telling you this, but I don't want to see unnecessary bloodshed. Our fleet carries experimental weapons that even I don't have clearance to know about. They're designed specifically for encounters with technologically advanced civilizations." Another blast rocked the ship, but it was weaker than before. "Your deception is pathetic," Tarzoth responded, but Elena detected hesitation. "Okafor, what's the fleet doing?" Elena asked loudly enough for the open channel to pick up. "The alien vessels are spreading out, Captain," Okafor replied, quickly catching on. "They appear to be establishing a defensive formation." Elena suppressed a smile. Her bluff was causing the aliens to reconsider their approach. "You have one final chance, Tarzoth," Elena continued. "Withdraw your forces from our system, and we can establish diplomatic contact through proper channels. Otherwise, Fleet Admiral Chen will consider your actions an act of war, and I cannot guarantee restraint." "Send the data packet," she whispered to Wang while the channel was still open. Wang quickly prepared a transmission, not to a non-existent fleet, but to Earth, containing their conversation and a desperate plan. The alien commander's voice came back, harder now. "We will take your vessel and extract the truth. If you are lying, your world will pay the price for this deception." The Pathfinder was caught in a tractor beam and slowly pulled toward the massive alien vessel. As they were drawn in, Elena sent one final message to Earth, encrypted in a burst transmission that might go unnoticed. "They're coming. They believe we have a fleet. Use that." When the Zenkari soldiers boarded, they were nothing like humans expected aliens to be. Standing nearly 8 feet tall, they resembled bipedal felines with sleek bodies covered in short, iridescent fur. Their eyes were large and vertical slitted, set in angular faces dominated by short muzzles filled with sharp teeth. "You will be taken for evaluation," said one of the Zenkari, its mouth movements not matching the translated words. "Your ship will be studied. The Imperium welcomes all species to proper service." Elena and her crew were escorted off their own ship by the alien soldiers. As they marched through the alien vessel, Elena took careful note of everything: the layout, the technology, the number of crew members she could see, all information that might help Earth. "Commander Tarzoth wishes to speak with the captain," the guard announced. Elena was brought to what appeared to be the bridge of the massive vessel. Tarzoth was larger than the other Zenkari, with darker fur marked by ceremonial scarification. He circled Elena slowly, studying her. "Where is this fleet you spoke of, human?" he demanded. "I've told you all I can, Commander. Military protocols restrict what information I can share. Our scans show your planet has minimal orbital defenses. Your technology is primitive, yet you claim to have a fleet that can challenge the Imperium." Elena met his gaze steadily. "We've learned to hide our true capabilities. It's how we've survived in a dangerous universe." "We shall see," Axarzoth replied. "We are proceeding to your planet. If this fleet exists, they will defend it. If not," he left the threat hanging. As Elena was returned to the holding cell with her crew, she whispered, "Keep the story consistent. Earth's only chance is if they believe we're stronger than we appear." Little did she know that on Earth, her transmission had been received, and Admiral Chen was already implementing her desperate plan. A bluff on a planetary scale. The bluff that saved Earth. Admiral Mei Chen stood in Earth's Orbital Defense Command, watching as technicians scrambled to prepare for the approaching alien armada. 3 days had passed since Captain Rice's desperate transmission, and Earth had been working feverishly to prepare. "Status report," Chen demanded, her voice calm despite the impending crisis. "The Zenkeri fleet has passed Mars orbit, Admiral," reported her tactical officer. 17 capital ships with escort vessels. ETA to Earth, 6 hours. Chen nodded grimly. Earth's actual defenses were woefully inadequate against such a force. A handful of orbital platforms, 30 combat-capable spacecraft, and ground-based weapons that would be useless until the aliens were practically on top of them. But they had Captain Rice's brilliant deception to build upon. "Is Operation Phantom Fleet ready?" she asked. "Yes, Admiral. All civilian satellites have been reprogrammed. Mining vessels are in position. The lunar launcher is prepared." Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Then let's give these Zenkeri the fleet they're expecting." On the bridge of the Zenkeri flagship, Fleet Commander Axarzoth watched as they approached the human homeworld. "Still no sign of their alleged fleet," reported his sensor officer. "Maintain vigilance," Axarzoth ordered. "These humans are deceptive." Captain Rice, brought to the bridge as a prisoner, stood with her hands bound, but her expression remained confident. "Your bluff has failed, human," Axarzoth told her. "We see no fleet." "You will," Elena replied simply. As if on cue, the sensor officer called out, "Commander." Multiple energy signatures appearing from behind the moon. The tactical display lit up with dozens of contacts emerging from lunar orbit. "Impossible," breathed Axarzoth. "Where did they come from?" Elena smiled. "I told you about our stealth technology. What the Zenkeri couldn't know was that Earth had no such capability. What they were detecting was an elaborate deception. Hundreds of mining drones and satellites, hastily reprogrammed to emit signals mimicking warships. The lunar mass driver, normally used to launch mining payloads, was now launching thousands of small objects coated with radar-reflective material, creating the impression of a massive fleet deployment. "They're moving to surround us," reported the tactical officer. "Basic pincer formation." Axarzoth turned to Elena. "What weapons do these ships carry?" "As I said, Commander, that information is classified. But ask yourself, why would we hide our fleet unless we had something worth hiding?" Doubt crept into Axarzoth's expression. The human fleet appeared to be executing a complex maneuver, surrounding his forces with practiced precision. "Sir, we're detecting unusual energy readings from the larger vessels," the sensor officer reported. "Nothing like what we've seen from human technology before." This, too, was part of Earth's deception. The few actual combat vessels they possessed were running their engines at dangerous overload levels, creating energy signatures that appeared anomalous and potentially threatening. "Should we engage, Commander?" asked his second-in-command. Axarzoth hesitated. The human fleet outnumbered his own 3-to-1, at least on sensors. If their weapons were as advanced as Captain Rice suggested, hold position. Prepare defensive formation. he ordered. Admiral Chen watched from Earth as the Zenkeri fleet halted its approach. "They stopped," her tactical officer reported. "Their weapons are powered but not targeting." "Good," Chen replied. "Now for Phase 2. Launch the diplomatic probe." A small unarmed vessel departed from Earth orbit, transmitting on all frequencies. "Zenkeri Imperium vessels, this is Admiral Mai Chen of the Earth Defense Fleet. We note your hostile actions against our scout ship Pathfinder. However, in the interest of avoiding unnecessary conflict, we offer discussion. Be aware that any aggressive move will be met with immediate response from our main battle group, currently holding position in your rear quadrant." There was no such battle group, of course, but the Zenkeri had no way to verify this without dispersing their forces, a risk they might not be willing to take. On the Zenkeri flagship, Karzoth received the transmission with growing concern. The human fleet's movements were unlike anything expected from a primitive species. They maintained perfect formation, never exposing weaknesses, using the Moon and Earth's gravity well with tactical precision. "Your Admiral Chen is clever," Karzoth told Alina. "But if this is a deception, why would we need to deceive you if we couldn't defend ourselves?" Alina countered. "The Pathfinder is a scout vessel. You've seen our main fleet now." In truth, humanity's fleet was nothing but smoke and mirrors. Civilian mining vessels transmitting military signals, satellites reprogrammed to emit false signatures, and a few actual military vessels making multiple passes to appear as many. But the deception was masterful. Karzoth studied the tactical display for long moments. Finally, he made his decision. "We will withdraw to Saturn's orbit and establish communication channels from there," he announced. "The Imperium does not seek war with prepared civilizations." Elena maintained her composure despite the elation she felt inside. "A wise decision, Commander." As the Zenkeri fleet began its withdrawal, Elena was returned to the holding cells. During the transfer, she managed to whisper to Lieutenant Wang, "They're retreating. We need to get off this ship." Wang nodded imperceptibly. That night, as the Zenkeri fleet maintained position near Saturn, Elena and her crew executed their escape plan. Using knowledge gained from studying the ship's systems during their captivity, they disabled the guards, reached an escape pod, and launched toward Earth. 3 days later, a battered escape pod was recovered by Earth forces. Captain Alina Reyes and her surviving crew were hailed as heroes. Their intelligence on Zenkeri technology and tactics would prove invaluable. In the debriefing room at Earth Defense Command, Admiral Chen congratulated Alina personally. "Your quick thinking gave us the time we needed, Captain. Without your warning, and the idea to bluff about our capabilities, we might be facing occupation now." Alina nodded solemnly. "What's the status of the Zenkeri?" "Still holding position near Saturn. They've sent communication requests, seeking diplomatic relations between equals. They're being cautious, respectful even. They won't stay fooled forever," Alina warned. "Once they analyze their data more carefully, they'll realize what we did." Admiral Chen smiled. "Perhaps, but we've bought ourselves time, possibly years, and we're going to use every second of it." She gestured to a holographic display showing new defense platforms under construction, shipyards being expanded, and weapons systems in development. "Thanks to you, Captain, the Zenkeri will return someday to find that what was once a bluff has become reality. Earth will be ready." Elena gazed at the plans with determination. Humanity had earned its reprieve not through superior technology or military might, but through ingenuity, quick thinking, and the audacity to bluff an empire. The Zenkeri had retreated, believing they'd encountered humanity's main fleet. When they eventually discovered the truth, that they'd been deceived by a species they'd dismissed as primitive, they would return with greater force. But by then, humanity would be prepared. What had been fiction would become fact, and the galaxy would learn that underestimating humans was always a costly mistake.